what gave you an idea of BAATIN and how did it come to life?
Because I have always been very creative, and when I was in Pakistan, I really wanted to, have my own kind of like t-shirt or hoodie business. And I came across this store which does customization, and that's just, the start of how I was inspired. Because
What does BAATIN means?
so BAATIN is an Urdu word which means hidden.
So what makes your style different from any typical apparel out there?
So for me, I was thinking, that we have our own values. They are like, what drive us through our life. So why not like wear something which represents us, or something which can help us through tough times.
So your brand is very much rooted to the faith, but it's not very religious. So how do you keep that balance of having a moderate message out there and having everybody included within your brand too? Hello everyone and Assalamu alaikum to another podcast. Today we have an inspiring journey of a young woman entrepreneur who has started her own brand and is using art and design to tell powerful stories of faith, resilience and quiet strength. She is a Canadian-based creative brand owner named as BAATIN, and we welcome her today to our show. Eamon, thank you very much for joining us today. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good. Hope you're doing well as well.
Great. So Eamon, tell us about your background and tell us about what gave you an idea of BAATIN and how did it come to life?
Yes, of course. So for my background, I moved here from Pakistan a few years ago.
Right.
And then I came here, started working in retail, then I worked in a corporate job, and then finally I started my brand. So the idea came, like I always knew I wanted to do business because I come from a business family.
Right.
But I did not know what I wanted to do. But when I came here, I was very new. So I went to the mall, I was just exploring. And I came across this store which does customization. So you can take your ideas, your logo, and they're going to create your idea on a Photoshop and kind of like make the t-shirt or hoodie on spot.
Right.
So that was very creative, and it was a coincidence that they were hiring. So I applied and I got the job, and that's just, the start of how I was inspired, because I have always been very creative. And when I was in Pakistan, I really wanted to, have my own kind of like t-shirt or hoodie business. And it was like there, I guess it's not that possible to start it at your own home, but I like doing stuff like that with my own hands.
Right.
So that's just where, the journey started, and I was inspired to, start this brand.
Right. So Eamon, what does BAATIN means itself? Like where did this word come from?
So BAATIN is an Urdu word which means hidden or inward state.
Right.
So basically the meaning completely kind of like reflects what my brand is about. It's what's beneath the surface, It's the feelings that we carry, the faith that we have in every day, the kind of like strength, that we rely on, even if we don't show it, but there's that strength within us that helps us, keep going when things are tough. So that's what, BAATIN is about. That's the meaning behind it. And it's not just like a creative lifestyle or clothing brand. It's, those quiet reminders that you need, whenever life's tough, you just need someone to give you that little push, that motivation to keep going.
Right. So what makes your style different from any typical apparel out there?
I think I would start this with an example. Like people, they wear, clothes with just like a logo of a brand or name of a sports person, because that's what they resonate with. That's like something that, they support. So for me, I was thinking, that we have our own values. They are like, what drive us through our life. So why not like wear something which represents us, or something which can help us through tough times, not only us, the people around us. So that was something that I was totally focused on. So I guess with me and other brands, it's like I focus on the inside. Other people, most other brands, they focus on the outside. So by this, I mean that they focus on trends and fashion and style. I focus on the meaning. So that's like something I would say which totally guides my brand. Like I want to put out there things which are motivational and meaningful, and not just there for the looks, I would say.
Right. So your brand is very much rooted to the faith, but it's not very religious. So how do you keep that balance of having a moderate message out there and having everybody included within your brand too?
Yeah, definitely. That's a very good question. So I would say that balance was very natural. So when I started, I did have a lot of designs which were inspired by Quranic verses or prophetic stories. But then I, realized that what I'm trying to achieve is way beyond religion. Religion is very personal. It's like, every individual has a different perspective. So it's not really something which can tie everyone together. It cannot be as inclusive,
Right.
But when it comes to faith, faith is something which we all have, and
Right.
it's a very broad, aspect. So it can be faith in, having hope, faith in everyday life, faith in people around you. So that was the kind of like the direction I wanted to take. I want to include everyone and connect to everyone, um, you know, in a way that is inspiring and motivational.
That's very interesting. So, Eamon, you said you always wanted to do business. Now, how did you come to a conclusion that this is something I want to do? Like you told me that you went to a mall, you saw a shop, and that's where the idea came. But right, like we go through so many ideas every day. We hear about so many new businesses coming in, coming around us. But what made you decide this one particular business? And again, as I said, it's a very fine line between faith and religion that you're actually showing on your brand. So how did you decide that this is what you're going to do?
I guess it has more to do with my own personal kind of like experiences.
Right.
So moving from Pakistan to here, obviously it's like a very new experience. You're starting from scratch. Like in Pakistan, I had a very established career. My husband had an established career. So we moved here, and it was like we had a very small, I guess, community, very small network of people. So when you're in situations where you are just like, you don't know what to do, you don't know who to talk to, obviously, and there's so much time difference with here and in Pakistan. You can't always like talk to your family,
Right.
So it's like moments like those where I'm like, I need some motivation, So pulling from there, that's where the idea came from. And then after that, I got like, when I was in retail, obviously even though I liked working at that t-shirt shop,
Right.
you are working, minimum wage.
Right.
Then I got like a corporate job. I took that. It was amazing. I had a really good experience. But after like a 1 year and a half, they let me go. And that was like, even though I was a very high performer, that was just something, management decision or whatever. They let me go. And then I was like, I'm back to square one. Like, I have to start again. I have to look for a job. And, that, I guess, personal experience was the final push I needed.
Okay.
That, you have to start doing this. And there's something that my father always says. He's like, you work so hard for other people. Why not work hard for yourself?
I've heard that many times. Yes, for sure.
Exactly. So, I guess that kind of like inspiration and that kind of like push from my own family, and then experiencing, downs in life, and, wanting someone to tell me, that you can do it and have faith. I guess that's what I wanted to hear. So I was like, okay, I want other people to, hear this as well. So I guess that was the motivation that, helped me come up with this idea and start my brand finally.
Great. So, Eamon, a quick question. The answer would not be that quick, but like coming up with your own brand with that idea takes a lot of time, effort, and strategy. What would you tell my viewers that what steps they should take and what things to look out for when thinking of creating their own brand or starting their own business?
That's a really good question. I would say that first, before you do anything else, you have to understand your own self. When you know your own skills and weaknesses, that's where you will know that, I can use these skills, or this is the area that I need to improve on. Once you understand who you are, then you can, understand the why, like why you want to do a business, what's the reason you want to do it, and then you have to do some kind of research, like look into the market, test the market. Like if I talk about myself, when I was starting the business, before I even launched it, I went to a winter market with samples. Oh, that's it. I invested like a big amount just to get the booth, but I went to this market with my samples just to see how people are reacting to it,
Right.
how they are reacting to my designs and the price point, just to get some feedback. So that really helped, because I might have some idea in mind, but maybe that's just not, sustainable. So that's something that I did. And then you have to, be open to criticism, because people are going to come and say, oh, I don't like it, or you should have done it like this. And some of this criticism is really good, and you should use it, to, improve your products.
Right, yeah.
So I think that's like my main, I would say, advice. And in the end, I would say networking is very important, because you need to meet other people, other small business owners, and you have to connect to your customers, because in this, I guess, era, people don't really want to only see your products. They want to know what you're doing in your life. They want to see the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They want to see who you are, why you're doing what you're doing. So that's very important. So I would say networking is very, very essential, especially if you are a new immigrant and you don't have that community that you can rely on.
Right. Now, you said something about working for a corporate, like you come from a corporate background. So I'm pretty sure you must have had a very good job.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of people who find it very difficult to get out of a corporate culture and start their own business. So how did you take that step? And the second question is, how did that help you with your venture of BAATIN itself? How, like, did that experience come in hand when you were actually doing or coming up with this brand?
First, I'll answer the second half and then the first.
Sure.
So, for my background in Pakistan, I worked in advertising agencies, and
Right.
I worked in a lot of fashion brands. So I had that marketing and fashion background, that foundation that helped me understand the market and then have that confidence that this is something I can do.
Right.
So after that, I came here, worked at the t-shirt shop. I learned how to use the heat press and the whole t-shirt printing process. So that practical knowledge was very important for me. I got to know, okay, this is something that I can do, something I'm good at. Then I worked in a corporate job in Canada. That's where I understood the Canadian market. Obviously, if I never could understand, the people here, it would have been much more difficult for me to market my products.
Right.
So that experience, all the experience that I have had so far, somehow helped me build my business.
Right.
So that's the first part. The second, I would say that how I got out of that, corporate culture. Honestly, I understand when people say that they can't do it, they find it difficult, because when you're working at a job, you get a fixed paycheck at the end of the day, end of the month.
Right.
And that's something, it's satisfying, whatever you do, you will get that money. And coming out of that into an environment which is very risky and uncertain, obviously you're going to find it very difficult. So honestly, for me, it was like, I didn't have anything else, I lost my job. So obviously that I just realized that I don't have a safety net, If I had started that business before, like when I still had the job, then I guess when I lost my job, I would be making some money, But after I lost my job, I had to kind of like start from scratch and then build a source of income. So I guess for me, I would say it was much easier because this was the only option I had. But for other people, I say, take this as kind of like a hobby, a passion project. You might have some passion, so why not invest in that instead of like maybe doom scrolling or something? Try to build something for yourself in case, something happens, you have like a backup plan for yourself,
Right.
You don't have to start from scratch. That's only something I can say.
So what were some of the biggest challenges you faced while you decided to do this and for the launch of BAATIN? Like what were some of the challenges, and how did you get over with them, right? Like how did you move forward and kept going and kept yourself inspired that this is actually something you want to do?
I would say it was more like self-doubt, more like internal.
Right.
Because anyone who is working on anything new, they can relate to it. You are your own biggest enemy, honestly. Because you keep on saying, oh, is this something which is going to work? Are people going to like it? Or are they going to hate it? So I guess that was what kind of like was not really helping me. So what I did was, honestly, I just took a leap of faith. And what helped me, like really helped me, was when I went to the first vendor market to test my products. It was the feedback that I got from people, the motivation that people gave me, the encouragement that they gave me. That's the first thing kind of like which really helped me. And I was like, okay, people are liking it. It means that they resonate with it. So this is something that they really want.
Right.
So kind of like hearing that positive, feedback from them was really what, helped me, start my business on like full scale.
That's great. Now, talking about going to vendor markets, let's talk about your marketing strategy. So how did you, like, what steps or what things you take into consideration when planning a marketing strategy for BAATIN, and how did you market BAATIN up till now?
Yeah. I have a background in social media, so I have had like 6 years of experience in it.
Right.
So I guess my first major platform is social media, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. That's where I post a lot of videos, which is like, it's not only product based.
Right.
I do like styling videos with my products. I share like day to day, what my life looks like. So there's like a lot of different things that I share, just so people know the behind the scenes, what it's like to be a business owner and what it's like to have this collection that I'm launching. Other than that, I focus a lot on vendor markets, because that's where you find your customers whom you may not be able to reach on social media, because they're like different kind of like target audience. Not everyone's going to be on every platform, and sometimes it's not easy to go viral. So I would say on vendor market, it's very easy to connect with people. You tell them who you are, tell your story, and that's how they see the real you. So that's like my first, I would say, priority as well, to go to as many vendor markets as possible. Last, I would say, is networking. I network with a lot of influencers, a lot of like social media, not social media, I mean to say small businesses.
Right.
It's very important, because the thing is that together, the community, everyone's rooting for you, and everyone like pulls you up if you pull them up as well.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the thing that I'm looking at right now.
So coming back to BAATIN itself, like, how do you come up with these ideas? Like, I know you said they're somewhat close to faith, hope, inspirational, motivational quotes. What is your thought behind anything that you're printing on that shirt? What is that feeling, first of all? And then what are the product lines you have? Like, what are you offering? Like, is it just shirts? Is it more than that? So what kind of categories you're working on?
So for inspiration, I would say I take inspiration from everyday life.
Right.
I'm going for a walk in nature. I've had a conversation with a friend. I've read something in a book. So there are like small everyday moments where I find motivation or I find inspiration, and I just pull from there. So a lot of my collections, they have mostly the same themes. The first theme that I focus on is faith. Now faith, like I already talked about, is very broad. It's like faith in humanity, faith in love, faith in things getting better. So that's the first thing. So a lot of like different aspects, different designs in this kind of like category. Then the other one that I talk about is gratitude. So it's like being grateful for the people around you, being grateful for the blessings that you have or the environment that you're in. And the last that is very consistent and something that people really like is my cat theme. So so cat theme is something that people relate to a lot. And I like to add some kind of like whimsical element or joy to my designs. And that's where I try to be more creative.
Right.
So these are a few like themes that I stick to majority of my time. Other than that, for the categories, so I have sweatshirts, I have tote bags, I have magnetic bookmarks, art prints. Yeah. So these are like, for me, these are like canvases. What my actual product is the feeling that they leave you with. So that's basically what I'm trying to achieve.
That's very inspiring. That's very good. Very good. Now, another question is, you said you have been part of social media for past 6 years, and now you have started your own business. Can you relate to the fact that e-commerce or social media has actually changed how we do business nowadays? And how do you think that would affect and benefit or a negative of BAATIN itself? Like if you ask me, organically people would just open a retail store, they would sell their product there, and now it's more like you might not even have a retail store, but you might be making a lot of money selling through e-commerce, right? So how does that has come into play now?
Honestly, with social media and e-commerce, it's like I'm sitting here, but I can know what's happening in Pakistan,
Right.
So it's very easy. And with, a lot of like new shipment companies which are making like shipping even cheaper, like although it's not cheap, like more affordable as compared to other big brands, it's getting easier for small businesses to, ship orders and not having that need to have like a store somewhere, a physical store, a physical location.
Right.
Additionally, I would say, like for me, I cannot invest in a physical store, right?
Right.
But I can definitely invest in a vendor market. I can have a booth for 1 day, 3 days, and see if the audience there is someone who will be beneficial for me, So for me, it would be easier. So I would say definitely like having social media and e-commerce for people who want to start a business is much more, I would say, cost effective than for someone who maybe has like a lot of money and they have like a big brand and they want to start, have a physical location.
So
for them,
so you feel social media has made it more easier to start your own business?
Of course, like a lot of people I've seen, like a lot of people, they haven't started their business yet, right? They just made a product, they'll put it on social media, and if there's demand, then they're going to start selling it.
Yeah.
So even that's easy, right? You don't have to invest until and unless there's a customer out there,
Yeah.
So it's easier to test products, it's easier to get feedback in real time, and then use that to create a vision for your brand or for your products.
Yeah, plus I think you are more reachable to anywhere in the world, right? Like with social media, you can sell. Yeah, you can be sitting in Canada, but you can be selling anywhere in the world, right?
Exactly.
Now, customer feedbacks. Like I know you said that you have been on these vendor markets and you have gotten feedbacks. Tell me about a feedback which really motivated you and kept you going with this product. And then again, maybe tell me your best selling product or the quote or the inspiration motivational quote you put on your product and that like just did amazing.
Yeah, I would say one product which has been constantly appreciated by customers and really loved is my waves design, which has the quote, "After every hardship comes ease." Now this is something very simple and anyone can relate to it. Everyone has ups and downs in life,
right?
So I was at a vendor market and this woman, she comes up to me and she's like, "I want that sweatshirt." And then she starts to tell me why she wants it. She's like, "There are people in my life who are making my every single day terrible. I'm going through a very hard time and I want to wear this in front of them. So I have the motivation to keep going because I know this is only temporary and after some time it's going to get better. Wow. And maybe if I wear this, someone else will see it who's going through a tough time and they will feel better,
Right.
It will give them hope." And that kind of like emotional connect with my product was so heartwarming. I was like, this is what I'm trying to do, I want people to connect with my products emotionally and help them, through whatever they're, going through in life. So that was really, really heart touching. And I was like, this is what I'm doing and I should keep, going on. So that's definitely my bestseller. And then there's another tote bag that I have. It has floral designs and under each like stem, there's a trait of a good Muslim. And that's taken from Quran. Nice. So under those traits, I have mentioned the Quran verse and the Quran surah. So, if anyone wants to look it up, they can. It's just like small reminders, that make sure you know what you're doing, reminding you to ensure your actions are good and you're not hurting anyone or you're being a good person overall. That's kind of like what I'm trying to achieve.
Great. Now, with BAATIN itself, so where do you see BAATIN in the next couple of years? Hopefully, you want it to be really successful. But like design wise, what more product lines you would want to add with BAATIN?
So my vision definitely is to go into the garment industry. I know I am there already with my sweatshirts and t-shirts, but what I want to do is be able to work on my own like dresses and shirts. So that's like the kind of like direction I want to take in the future.
Right.
For now, I want to focus on my designs to keep giving people motivation, to ensuring that they have those faith-inspired motivational messages. So for the next like few months and years, I am focusing on like t-shirts and hats and bucket hat. All of them will have like motivational messages inspired by our surroundings, inspired by the hidden feelings that we have inside of us, which are like motivational. So that's my idea for now. Obviously depends on the season, like in summer there's going to be t-shirts, and fall there are going to be sweatshirts, and winter hoodies, all those sorts of things.
Right, that's very interesting. Now, Eamon, a young woman entrepreneur who wants to start their business, what would your advice to be for them? What advice would you give? Is my question. And then, like, what is success for you? Like, what do you feel is gonna be success for you and your brand? Like, where do you want to reach? Where do you want to get?
As for the advice, I would say, it's never too late to start. You have to make sure that you have a source of income. I guess a lot of people who come from our community, like they're desis, they kind of like don't focus on building their own kind of like financial stability. They don't focus on that. So for women, it's very important. If you want to have a small business just so you can have some extra cash, you should do it. That's what I would say. So that's my kind of like advice. As for sorry, what was the other question?
The other question was like, what is success for you? And how do you think that BAATIN, like, where do you see BAATIN, and that's where you want to say, okay, this is successful?
So I would say for success, one is when people come up to me and they're like, this is the message that I wanted. This is like talking to a friend. The message is as motivational, So I guess that emotional connect, obviously, I want to go viral. I want to, have those big revenues, but those are, secondary for me. For me, it's more like that emotional connect, creating that kind of like community around me that can relate to what I'm doing. They resonate with it and they appreciate it. For me, emotionally, that's like a great success. I would say also like creatively, I was saying making sure I'm true to my vision, making sure that I am, even though if the growth is slow, just making sure that it's like, it's in the direction that I want. Like I don't deviate from it just because of fashion trends or, other distractions. I want to make sure that I achieve what I'm set to achieve. Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So, even couple of questions before we finish here. But with BAATIN itself, how can people find your products? How do they order? Are you shipping everywhere in the world? Is it just Canadian? And then one last question, because I'm pretty sure you know this. These days, it's very trending that support local. So I would ask all my followers to support local, right? Like that's one thing Canadians are looking for. So yeah, like tell us about it. Where can we find your products? How can we order? And yeah.
Yeah, so for my products, I have a website. It's BAATIN.store.
Okay.
So people can check out my collections over there, all of my products. For shipment, currently we are shipping to Canada and the US.
Okay.
But very soon we will be offering international shipping as well.
That's great.
And then for my like social media, like I am sharing all the behind the scenes, day in my life, all of the kind of like tea on what goes on in a small business owner's life, and obviously like my collections as well. I'm sharing that on my social media. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, my handle is BAATIN online. And for like detailed vlogs, which I'm also doing, I'm on YouTube with the handle BAATIN dash online. So people can, follow me there. As for my business, yes, I'm a Canadian business, and everyone should literally support local, because it's like tough times with all the things that are happening with tariffs and everything. We do source all of our products locally. So we make sure that, we are also supporting local suppliers. And then everything is made at home. Like I make everything myself. The illustrations, I make them myself, and then I press my designs onto sweatshirts and t-shirts and tote bags myself using a heat press. So everything's made with love.
So it's a one-person army.
Yeah, exactly. I am the social media person. I'm one-person army. I do everything. Obviously, my husband helps when he can, where he can.
Yeah.
But overall, I do everything myself. So everything is made with love and meaning, and very local.
Great. Now, how important is family support? Like you mentioned your husband here, and that's something which is challenging for women entrepreneurs, that they don't get the family support, especially from the background we come from. There's no concept of having dual income or dual household income, sharing the expenses. How important do you think in this time and era, because it's getting really difficult out there, right? In this time and era, is important of family support?
Honestly, like you said, this is like very, really terrible times, you cannot solely survive on one second person to earn and run the house.
Yeah.
It's not possible. Or maybe if you have like a good, source of income, which is fine, but you still need, extra. Who doesn't like extra cash? So for me, I have a really good support system. It's not only my husband, it's like my in-laws. They're very supportive. They, ask me how's my business going. They, call up and ask about updates, so which is very sweet, being there, supporting the idea. And then my parents and my siblings, all of them have been very supportive, everyone's like waiting for the next product to drop, or for the next video to come, on social media. So it's like, it's very, very important, if you don't have that support system, obviously you're going to find it difficult, because then you are emotionally alone. If I'm a single, a one-person army, sure, I'm doing everything, but emotionally I have a lot of people to rely on, right?
Yeah.
Like if I want like encouragement, if I want someone to say, it's okay, if for instance sales are slow, it's going to be fine. If you don't have anyone who's kind of like helping you get out of your own mind, then that's where the problem comes.
Right.
Because obviously work, if you're a person who works a job, who has that experience, you are fine with working, for your own business. But if you cannot get out of your own mind, you don't have anyone to rely on, that's the problem, You'll find it very difficult to keep going for a long time. So for me, having that support system, obviously it's very precious.
Great. One last thing, Eamon, before I let you go, is how about we do a motivational quote for my viewers?
Oh, okay.
Just because you're so creative. And so yeah, camera is all yours.
Yeah.
Give them a quote.
I would say one quote that I am also like thinking about, launching very soon is...
Don't give that out.
Oh.
But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's, there are signs everywhere if only you look. So that's one motivation that I can give. Like, if you're not feeling happy, you're not like feeling like there's hope at the end, So if you look around, there are signs everywhere, they're like the clouds that come every single day and they're flying by. They just give you hope,
That's great.
The sun coming out every single day, that's giving you hope. Spring is coming, there are leaves coming out.
Yeah.
That's like, things might be rough for some time, but after a little while it's going to be better. So even if you look at nature, there's so many signs, So I guess that's what I'm trying to say. If you look around, you'll find the signs for a lot of things, a lot of like faith in a lot of things, a lot of people, in humanity and everything. So yeah, that's my quote.
Well, thank you very much for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
And I wish you all the best with your
Thank you.
brand, and I hope it does really good.
Thank you.
And more power to you
Yeah.
on being one person army. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and I hope your podcast does really well as well. I've
Perfect.
been looking at other videos, and it's really nice.
Thank you. Well, thank you viewers for joining us today. And this was BAATIN, young woman entrepreneur who is trying to thrive through the hardship and working and making sure that we keep afloat and creating a brand. That's what you want. You want to have creative ideas and you want to do good business, make money, and inspire people and motivate people. Because hey, there's so much going on in the world. So any hope, any faith you can provide to anybody, that's great. And everybody follow BAATIN. I'm going to share the description and the links of her handle in my description down here, and there's going to be a link on the video as well. So do support her. Again, it's local. Canadians, support her. Thank you very much.